There you are. Oh, I thought we'd have to do the show without you, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Podcasting will be a thrill. Grandpa and chill, grandson and friends. Podcasting Grandpa and chill will be a thrill, grandson and friends. With your hosts, Grandpa Barton, Brandon Fox, Phines Jackson, and Sierra Dawes. This is Grandpa and Chill.
So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to have.
Yeah. Well, you wanted to talk about strange experiences, which is exciting for me because I have a couple, but I know that you got a lifetime full, right?
Yeah, I have several, but I'd like to hear everybody else's. And are the people
Yeah.
that you've contacted to go on to go on the show today? Are they aware of what we're going to talk about?
Oh, I just told them prepared for it to get weird.
Oh, okay, that sounds
That's great.
okay.
No. I just phrased it as unusual coincidences that you've lived through.
Yeah,
So
and it could be other things as well, but anything unusual.
Hear me okay?
But like if you saw a flying saucer, for instance,
Yes.
that would not be a
yeah,
coincidence.
yeah.
I switched to my
Anything
laptop
supernatural.
for clean feed instead
we
of my
can
phone.
we can do let's introduce that. Let me get my charger now that this is a better setup, so my laptop doesn't die, and then we'll do it.
Oh, you're on your laptop?
Yeah, dude.
You
Well,
want
are
to
you on
just
your?
rotate 180, and then the lighting will be on your face instead of shadowing your face.
Yeah, that's true. Can you turn?
But what's he going to use to hold his microphone stand?
Looks like he's moving the whole table.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's up against the wall, so.
Oh yeah, there's a window right there, bro. Yeah, you want the sun to
Face
face
the window.
Yeah, you want the sun to face. You want light to face your face. You don't want to be facing against it because it'll cause shadow.
My only fear is this router lights. Let's do this. Let's see if I can move it. Am I strong enough to move a table?
Lift with your legs.
Mm-hmm.
My knee is fucked actually.
Is I guess the knee bone's connected to the leg bone, if I remember correctly. Dang.
That's true.
Foot bone.
I never heard that song as a child. I think I was maybe like 16 when I first heard that, and I was like, "What the hell?"
I'm too old for this shit.
I
I
don't even
remember,
know what
yeah,
that is.
that had me starting questioning things early. Like I was like, so is your foot the leg? Like what? That whole thing kind of got me, threw me for a loop.
Started your philosophy major.
Yeah,
What
that's
is
what
the
it. Yeah, what came first?
the foot or the leg?
Yeah.
Yes.
We got to get you some better lighting.
We're getting the ring light. We're getting the ring light. We're gonna have a whole lesson. We're gonna have a bonus episode. It's just a whole
Yeah.
lesson in lighting.
I will. Yeah. Lighting is like bees knees out here.
Ah, God.
My room's lighting is perfect, but it's like I can't be in there if my room's.
Yeah.
What plant do you got, Sierra? What plant is that? Got.
Me. Who have a plant? Oh, my plant. This guy.
Oh wow! Look at that.
I have no idea what it is. It's my mom. My mom really likes plants, so it's been growing for years, and so it goes all the way around It's working its way around the room.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, those are the ones you cut a little piece off and you put it in like a jar, and then it'll keep growing. Like
Yeah, she's good at like transplanting stuff too. She's got a bunch of plants. This is actually funny. My mom we like did a whole bunch of stuff on our deck. So there's like furniture out there for the first time, and there's like a bunch of different plants and stuff outside. And she was just bored one day, and we had like these grape tomatoes, and she was like, and she just went outside and put it in one of the potted plants. And so that was in like maybe May or June. And so now we have we have like 2 or 3 tomato plants, and one of them has maybe like 30 green tomatoes on it that are
Ooh,
coming
wow.
in.
Mhm.
And that's great and that's fun and they're actually really good. We tasted one. But the she also took a bunch of other random seeds, like whatever produce we had that week that she had the idea with the tomato. She took a bunch of other seeds that we had in the fridge that week, put them in all different pots. She put like 4 different seeds into one big pot that already had
Mhm.
like a small tree in it.
Yeah.
And they've been growing all summer and we have no idea what is growing. We only can recognize
Yeah.
the tomatoes and we have no idea. And I told her like every 2 days there's some different
Um,
mechanism growing. It's like turned into
that
something else. I still don't know it. I think she put a watermelon seed in one, but the pot is only like this big. It's only like a 3-inch diameter. And I was like, why did you do, what do you think it's going to go?
that's
And she's like, don't worry about it.
super cool. I did something similar a couple years ago. I got like this aquarium
Yeah.
and I filled it with soil and then I just threw like I just went to like Lowe's or shit or somewhere and just got all types of seeds and I just threw them in there and it was like survival of the fittest, you know? And just water it every day and see who and then I figure out what's gonna be my favorite plant by basically off of me. I was like, if I water it the way I want to water it, whatever grows is my new favorite plant. Which ended up being the garden bean. Very easy to grow inside the house, y'all.
So
And
what happens to the other plants just died? They didn't
yeah,
survive?
I put cactus seeds and all types of stuff in there, and I'm like, I don't those. I'm assuming those died out, but there was a couple plants that I was surprised that actually grew. I really should have done like fruits and vegetables instead of like just grabbing whatever and throwing it in there because sometimes
Yeah.
well it'd be like flowers and then not
Yeah.
flowers and then
Oh
yeah.
wow, what is this marijuana leaf popping up out of my like,
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll probably overwater that. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know how to do marijuana plants. I think they're really high maintenance.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
lazy gardener. I want something that I'll.
I, that's something I know nothing about.
That's cool. I'm reading this book about Buddhist shit, and it has me thinking about plants too. Because you know, if you give kindness to one seed, you'll get so many fruits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The fact that they move towards light is like so like they grow in the direction of
Yeah.
the window.
Hmm.
Yeah. You talk to your plants, Grandpa, right?
I don't, but Linda does.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
talks. Yeah, I guess I do once in a while, not too often.
It
yeah.
helps.
Yeah.
It really does. It's if you sing to them, apparently they grow better.
Oh, that's cute.
Several years ago, I took a small piece of my my property, and I think it was like 4 by 8, and grew vegetables. And I grew a lot of tomatoes, and I smashed those tomatoes up and heat boiled them with some corn syrup and a few other herbs and spices. And I got a much, for me, it was a much better like tomato sauce than you buy in the
Wow.
supermarket.
That
It
sounds
Yeah.
was
good.
really
It
good.
does
It's
sound
like a
good.
lighter, hard to explain, but more lighter, not gummy looking.
Oh, good. I always feel like I get judged because I just eat the canned or the bottled pasta sauces, but they're shit compared to homemade.
I'll have to try that one day. I've never made so. I've never like really tried to make a homemade sauce.
Yeah. I see. I don't know. When I try to eat homemade stuff, I think it's just because my palate has been completely screwed by America. Or nothing has enough like sugar. And I'm like, this is what tomato tastes like without all that sugar. Like, ugh.
Right?
Yeah,
And like Jersey tomatoes are much better tasting, I think, than like Pennsylvania tomatoes. They're like more
It
like
must
cardboard. Jersey tomatoes are real delicious.
mm,
must be the water.
yeah. We used to
Could
grow
be.
tomatoes in Wall, my
Mhm.
hometown. Little Wall.
Uh, if I became a lawyer, you know how like businesses are now like you can defend them you can defend them in court because whatever. And I'm thinking like, why can't I defend plants then as a lawyer and be like, hey, I speak for the plants.
I'm Swamp Thing. I speak for the plants.
I speak
Right.
for the plants, and you guys owe us some money.
Yeah, that makes me think that the we've been cutting back on the EPA, all of the situations, for protecting the environment, and it applies not only to human beings but but to all of the animal kingdom. the quality of the air and the water.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I really do. Yeah, I'm such a hippie. I'm like, they do. The ocean and the plants need representation. If a business can get a lawyer, and then that means plants and animals should get the same thing in the ocean. You can't just be getting out here free rides for everybody.
That would be
Yeah,
such like a
go ahead.
Blade Runner type thing to have, like in like 20. Oh my God, it is 2020. Okay, so in like 2035 or something. Rosie,
The bird.
I love Rosie. If we had like 2035, we had like Earth lawyers or something. Just like I represent the flowers, I represent the
Mhm.
trees, I represent the Indian Ocean.
Especially if a business is profiting off of it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Then, and again, if if they have a lawyer, then it only makes sense to me that the thing that you're getting a business from should have a lawyer too.
It's like a whole law firm for like the ocean, for the air.
If Plants had lawyers, then they'd sue you for all the murder that you did with your aquarium.
Lawnmower. Oh yeah. Oh, aquarium. Yeah.
SeaWorld, good night. Bye.
Maybe you guys. I don't know if I asked you this before, but I need somebody to help me with the solution. We because I have birds and we have they make a mess with their food. I have a problem with mice coming into my unit, but they come into the whole building. It's a high-rise building, and I hate killing animals, but I've been using traps to trap them and kill them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they just multiply like crazy. And I can't live with mice running around.
Yeah.
So, what solution would you have?
I don't know where you could take them, but I know they have like you could get like a glue trap, or I think like I've seen like there's traps that are like little like cylinders, and you like put the bait inside, and so once the mouse goes inside, it shuts. But I don't know what you would do with them afterwards.
I've tried everything. I've tried all the different things, little platforms that when they walk onto it, it falls into a bucket, and many different things. And the only thing that really works are the large glue traps.
Yeah.
And once they get stuck on that, there's no way to save them.
No, yeah. You're the same. Yeah, I've killed an unfortunate amount of mice because of the glue trap. Because I'm like, I can't just let them sit there and throw into the trash. So I gotta like, I usually flip it over and throw like a brick on it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's real easy. What do you want me to do?
Oh
What do you want me to do? What do you? What,
Do you do that outside though, or like in your kitchen?
I don't know. I do it outside on the curb. It's called curb stomping.
Oh my God.
I'm so sorry.
Okay. So if you're using glue traps, I'm pretty sure you can get some. I don't know what you need. I don't know what you can do with the mice after this point, but if you are using glue traps, I'm pretty sure you can use vegetable oil to get them out of it.
I've done that, and it doesn't work. In fact, I've taken years ago when I was catching them, I would take the glue traps out to the woods and put the vegetable oil on them, and it's just a very messy situation.
Yeah,
you're not going to survive that.
Yeah.
I think it's more humane to just put them out of their misery by drowning them or something than keeping them alive, because they really once they're on those glue traps, there's no way to save them.
No, I agree. That's when I started really like doing so much like the quick killings. So I'm like, I can't just let this thing sit here. I think a good solution. Honestly,
Yeah.
Honestly, leave them birds alone. Leave them mouse alone. Bird don't need to be in no cage. Mouse don't need to be in. And mouse is there because.
Well, my birds fly free during the day. They are free, but I agree with you. I would not buy birds again. I would not have them, but I have them. And they're
that's true.
Yeah,
I feel that because I got a dog and I wouldn't get a dog again. But I'm like, I love my dog now.
Oh man.
Yeah. What you said?
No, you either just got to accept that you're gonna kill them or accept living with the mice, right?
Ooh, you could probably learn some taxidermy stuff and have some really cool things going on.
You could build like a really cute like little mouse hotel and like keep a bunch of mouse food in there. Maybe they'd figure that out.
Ooh, yeah, okay. I think I would keep the glue.
Hobby, build little hats for them.
Yes. Oh, just no. Keep the glue pad. So then when they fall, when they fall and they're stuck, you just put them in the house like it's a bed, and you put like a pillow under their head, and then they have
The problem is they multiply so fast, and if you don't try to control it, you're going to have a house full of mice. And
yeah,
Do the
who wants
birds
to live
not
in a
eat the
house
mice?
full of mice?
not those type of birds.
Rosie doesn't like
No,
attack
they
the
don't go
mice.
after the mice.
Okay.
But they notify me. They carry on. If there's mice, they know it, and they start carrying on. They want me
Yeah,
to get rid of them, but they
Dang.
won't attack them. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know.
get a cat, then a dog for the cat, and then so
Get
on and so forth.
a cat.
I agree. I really don't like killing little animals, but it's like when I see a cockroach, I'm like, I want it dead right away.
How there was an experiment about that. Like, how far do you go before you go? I don't feel comfortable killing this thing. What does it like?
Anything. Literally.
Anything? What about that
Yeah.
cockroach?
That's the thing is like it's like I don't want it dead. It's just I guess the fear is so high with roaches that I want it. But like even then I'm like, oh, I just like took away consciousness.
Yeah.
But
Well, every
I feel,
every
go
time
ahead.
we take a step, we probably kill thousands of bacteria and viruses
yeah,
and everything. So
Yeah.
I'm on that end where I'm not a big fan of killing things, but also I don't care. I know that sounds kind of mean, but but just like I said, if I'm already stepping on something and killing a bunch of stuff, then everything can get killed now.
yeah.
In my with not much remorse. I have remorse because I like things to live, and I'm most likely gonna let my I don't even like killing flies, but if I have to, I'm not gonna be upset about it. Um,
Honestly, anything with eyes, but even then, like I wouldn't want a tree in my neighborhood like chopped down. You know what I mean?
yeah, there was this experiment I heard about. This guy had to drop things into boiling water, and he started off with just an ant, and it was easy. Then it was a caterpillar, and then it got to a scorpion, then it got to a mouse, and then he would go until he couldn't.
Your mother.
Yeah, right, exactly. Probably someone else's mother.
So yeah, easier.
No, with that guy.
No, no, that was harder. No, I was making a bad joke.
You ever see the video, Grandpa? I know you haven't seen this. There's a video of a guy who boils. He like catches seafood and then like boils it, like throws them live on the cooker or whatever, and then eats them straight from there, like octopus, crab, all this stuff.
Mm.
It's
yeah, that's
really
kind of what they do with lobsters, I guess. So
yeah.
cook them.
It's so hypocritical because I'll be like eating a cheeseburger, like, oh my god, this is so hard to watch.
That is funny. Yeah, I don't eat meat, but it's not for the animals. It's more
Do you
for
not? Oh shit.
yeah, I'm a veggie, but more for sustainability of the planet. More keeping.
You know what I love about that though, Finest? I think you just hit the record for the longest vegetarian that I've known without telling me. Like I think I've known you almost a year, and I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, because I'll eat a piece of meat real quick. When not much, I'm not gonna cry about it, and I find it very distasteful when someone tells me about their diet like I care. Like, please don't tell me about. I don't care what your diet is. I'm not asking what your poop looks like. 'Cause that's the next thing I probably.
It looks like Rosie's kissing your ear, Grandpa.
Yeah, and it's making like a noise. You guys don't hear it. I may end up putting her back in her cage because it's really becoming annoying. And I have 3 in the other room. I cleaned their cage today. It took me 2.5 hours just to clean the cage in the room that the other 3 are in. Big job.
I think I'm gonna upload video podcast just for Rosie.
Rosie.
So, Sierra or Brandon or whomever, do we have people coming on today? Guests or what's the situation?
Oh, let me tell you, we're a little early, but Les is on the line. Let's throw Les on here. Les, are you here?
Yes, I am here.
Hello, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hey Les, this is Brandon. You got Grandpa on the line with you, Sierra and Phines. So we're happy to have you.
Hello.
Oh, great. Yeah, I've been listening to the conversation. It's been very interesting.
Oh, cool.
I'm a grandpa.
Yeah, I'm
I'm a
sorry.
grandpa. I'm a grandpa too, but not quite as old of a grandpa as the grandpa on the line.
How does that
Um,
make you feel, Grandpa Bart?
I'm okay with it.
Oh,
well, I'm not that far from him. He's grandpa. You said you were 80, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Well, next month I'll be 69.
Oh
So,
wow, nice.
wow.
but I got married when I was 18, so which I would not recommend to anybody. Um, but anyway, my wife and I have been married for 50 years this year,
Congratulations.
and
Yeah.
thank
Terrific.
you. And it hadn't been easy, but it never is for either side.
Mhm.
But it's worth it. Four
Wow.
grandchildren. I became a grandfather when I was in my 40s.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, because I got married, so young.
Hmm.
But no, it's great, great. Better being a grandfather than a father. I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you agree, Grandpa?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's less work,
Yeah,
less
Grandpa,
work and more fun
what age
yeah.
did
sometimes
you
You,
with
become a
grandkids.
grandpa?
Pardon?
What age did you become a grandpa? Not in your 40s, right?
No, I was a grandpa. Okay. Let's see. 23. Wait a second. 23. Um, Trying to think. What age did I become a grandpa? Well, how old are you? You're 25, right?
Next week, yeah.
You're 25. So subtract 25 from 2020, and you have 1995.
That
I
is
would
my
have
birth
become a
year.
grandpa in 1995.
Oh, I'm your
because
first.
you would
Okay.
Right.
you would have been 60,
Uh, what,
55,
1995? Yeah, it would be 25 years less.
You
No,
were 55.
25
Yeah.
from 80
55.
is
Yeah,
55. Yeah,
yeah.
55.
No, it's great because you can have the kids, you can spoil them, you can do everything the parents don't want them to do, and then you give them back. You don't tell them nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, you
Uh,
know, I, I have a question for the grandparents. I don't know if I ever have kids, but if I do have kids, I feel like I'm a little bit of a control freak, and I don't know how I would even live my kids with with my mom and dad because I'm like, just because this is exactly what you said, I'm like, I'm not gonna let you spoil my kids and they can come around here running around with sugar all in their system. Do you get in those arguments with your kids?
Um, no, not really. They pretty much know how I am, and they pretty much let me have fun with them. So, I mean, we don't do anything out of sorts. I mean, I don't take them
Yeah.
for beers or nothing like that.
Mhm.
The oldest is 14, so I'm not going to carry her to a bar or anything like
Yeah.
that. So they know, so
Yeah.
they
Yes,
know
Yeah.
there's,
I
so
have
they
pretty much
know,
the same situation.
yeah,
I
so
was
they know they're safe with me.
Yeah.
But I may feed them something like if they don't want them to have sweets, I'll give them sweets anyway. Little stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I suppose like yeah. Mm, it's tough. It's a tough one.
consider that I was pretty fortunate that I spent a lot of time with my grandchildren as they grew up,
Yeah.
and
oh, good.
I think it's a great experience in life, to have that bonding with your grandchildren.
He
It
used to sneak us
makes
beers all
gives
the
your life
time.
a fullness.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I didn't. We always lived away, and last year I retired from. At the end of last year, I retired and moved back to my hometown and living in a house where my mother and father had lived for years and years. And one of my grandchildren lives in the same town, so it's nice to. I'm sorry, one of my sons lives in the same town, and so of course my grandchildren do. So
Mhm.
I've gotten involved in their school. I've been the head coach of both the men's and the women's golf teams, stuff like that. I go to the basketball games that the girls play, and so it's a lot of
Wow.
fun. Haven't been able to do that before.
I like that. Sounds good. Yeah, I like that. Sounds like a fun time to have. Where you from?
North Carolina.
Oh.
Nice.
And what is the gentleman's name, the guest right now?
My name is Les per year.
Less
Lep
per year?
More or less, yes.
Lep per year.
Yeah.
Okay, unusual name.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Well,
my first name is Leslie, but when I say Leslie, or whenever I get mail for Leslie or a call, may I speak to Leslie? They're normally trying to talk to a woman,
Mhm.
so I shorten that to Les, and then they know it's a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, Les, we were going to discuss today unusual things that happen in your life, things that go beyond the what you'd consider the law of averages or whatever. And I've had many coincidences and unusual phenomena in my life, and I can
Hmm.
tell you one. Start out maybe this podcast talking about one of them. Uh, I used to live in Atlanta, Georgia,
Ah,
not too far from where you're from.
yeah.
And when my grandmother passed away, I drove up north. It's about close to 800 miles to my parents' home where the family met. It's called Sitting Shiva in Jewish, and that's what I am. But we sat at my mother's home and for a few days. And when I left her home and I was pulling out of the driveway, my grandmother's name was Julia. And when I
Hmm.
pulled out of the driveway, there was a tractor trailer in front of me on the main highway, and it was covered with some dirt. And in the dirt, it said "Goodbye, Julia."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and that really happened to me. Now, maybe maybe my mind was uh, making this up, but I don't think so. It was pretty as real as my driving back to Atlanta.
Wow, that's
So, do
amazing.
you guys have any experiences that are, that sort of phenomena or unusual, flying saucer, whatever?
Well, I've got a couple. When I was a high school athlete back in the '60s and played just about all the sports. And we were going to I was going to my annual sports banquet, and I kind of lived out in the country, and I had left about a mile from the house, and then I saw this light kind of just hanging in the sky right above the road. And I said, "What in the hell is that?" And then all of a sudden, it just, I mean, it took off like a bat out of hell, and it was heading. Now I was in Wilmington, North Carolina. Where we lived was 5 miles from Wrightsville Beach. So I'm supposed to go downtown Wilmington to the banquet. Well, what do? I head off to the beach because I
Mhm.
want to go find this thing. And went all the way, rode all around the beach, never saw it again. But yeah, that was one unusual thing I had.
Wow.
Hmm.
Do
And
you
I
believe
had
in
a very
aliens?
similar experience. I was riding in my vehicle, and I saw a light that was like not from this world. It was like a light unto itself,
Right.
and it's kind of like had a mind of its own. And I was afraid of it. I said, "Please don't kill me." It looked
Wow.
just like it had this power about it, and
Oh
then
Mhm.
it
wow.
eventually disappeared. But it just appeared in the sky and then disappeared. So
Was
that
that was that at night or during the daytime?
it was at night.
At night. Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, mine was too. It was at night. So.
You guys think
Have
it
you
could
been
have
drinking?
been alien life? Aliens or
Les, have you been drinking?
No, not at that time. I would wait till I got to the banquet to get a few beers, but no, not at that time. I hadn't started, but yeah, uh, I was always interested in flying saucers. I always read a lot about it. And, you know, I still believe um, that in New Mexico, I think that was actually something extraterrestrial and not a weather balloon. But that's a
Hmm.
personal opinion.
Mhm.
But there's too many to me after reading all the the documentation on it and everything. There are too many local uh, people who gave um, testimony to these things that seemed to me to be more convincing than what the government was trying to say.
One of the things that I think if people that experience phenomena, unusual phenomena, when you relate it to someone who has not experienced that particular thing, it's hard for that other person to really realize in their head what's going on.
Yeah,
It's hard for them to accept it. So,
right.
I've had people think maybe I'm crazy or whatever, but the experiences are very real to me, as real as any worldly reality.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's it's I don't know, and I don't know the government, had that Project Blue Book going on for a while, and I think all that's been declassified. And if you look at some of that material, I think they were able to account for like 90% of it, but there was
Hmm.
still about 10% they couldn't.
Yeah. A lot of UFO sightings have been officially released, and they don't know what it is, but they're definitely real. Like military has seen UFOs, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, what is this?"
Right. Well, yeah, and a lot of things I think that have been uh, come up is it's like back when they were developing the what is that plane that flies under the radar? The stealth plane. Back
YR
when they were
71.
back when they were developing that, people would see that in the sky, and it was a UFO. They'd never seen anything like that, but that was actually an identity
And
in
I
the
was,
government.
oh,
There
there
you
you go.
go.
Yeah.
There you go.
We thought you got abducted yourself there.
Yeah.
There you
Said a little
go.
Yeah,
too much.
somebody doesn't want you talking about these things.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
probably not. Yeah. But anyway, it's interesting. I also had another thing happen. A lot of this depends on your worldview. I'm a big believer in what people's worldviews are,
Hmm.
and on what do you base, your beliefs and things like that.
Yeah.
And I happen to be a Baptist pastor. And I retired from that at the end of this past year, and moved, like I said, I moved here, but then a church convinced me to come and help with them. So I'm still doing a little bit of it. But anyway, um, it depends. To me, everything depends on, what do you base everything on? Is it what's your worldview based on? Is it based on books you read? Is it based on how you were raised? What's it based on? Some people may say, well, it's based on my experience, but the problem with experience is that you can't experience every experience there is available to experience. So you've only got a narrow view of experience from which to base something on that may or may not really be true.
Mm. And let me just ask, as a pastor, have you had any sort of intense, uh, otherworldly experiences that stand out, like amongst the rest of your time?
Well, I'll just give you one thing. And by the way, I was in the business world for 25 years before I felt the Lord leading me into ministry. And so I was 40 something before
Wow.
I started.
Wow.
Um, so I was going to seminary in Dallas. And it was like it. I was beginning my second semester, and I'm 45 years old. I'm working a full time job. I do not want to do this. Um, And so I got out of my car. I was walking across the road to campus, and uh, at this seminary there's a sidewalk that goes all the way around campus, like in a square or a rectangle or something like that. And people walk and they run on that. So so I walk across the from the parking lot over to I'm going toward a building, and then I get to the sidewalk, and this lady taps him on my shoulder, and I turn around, and she said, I challenge you in your studies. I challenge you. I challenge you in your studies. And I said, huh? What are you saying? I challenge you in your studies. That's all she said. And she was a Hispanic lady, and being, in the Dallas area, the Texas area, that's not unusual. But she was a nice looking lady. She was kind of a short, red haired Hispanic lady, and like in a running uh, outfit, uh, sweatsuit, the whole deal. And she kept saying that I challenge you in your studies, and I said, this lady's crazy. So I turned around. I took about 3 steps, and I thought, I wonder what she meant. And I turned back around, and she was nowhere to be seen.
Mm.
Nowhere to be seen. And all this is completely open area. There's not a tree in sight. There's nothing to block your view anywhere. And so personally, I think that might not have been a human being.
Yeah, it sounds like a angel training for a marathon or a sprint.
Yeah, maybe it's time. But apparently, I needed that encouragement to continue studying, because I tell you, I was at a point where I hadn't been to school in 20 years, not since college, and it's hard to start that up again. It really is. But anyway, that was, I guess, the
Now,
main
are
thing
you
I
a
can think of.
pastor at a regular? Do you have your own church or?
Well, yes, I'm a pastor at a church in North Carolina. It's out in the country. It's just old country church. It doesn't have too many people. I pastored for 23 years. I pastored big churches, small churches, everything in between. And I'm gonna tell you, it's I enjoy what I do, but I was ready to retire. Um, it wears you out. It's and I'll just be honest with you up front. I'm bipolar type 2, and I didn't know that until about 5 years ago. But I knew that my emotions cycled, uh, from manic to depression and all that. Bipolar type 2 isn't like bipolar type 1. Bipolar type 1, and I know I'm rambling here. I'm sorry about all that.
No,
But
no.
No, you're
but
fine. Yeah.
but bipolar type 1, I mean, these are the people that are, smearing their crap all over the walls and, going crazy. These are the people that are being hospitalized. Bipolar type 2 is is uh, is nothing like that. What's happening is that you're you're continuously cycling between being in a manic phase and being in a depression phase. And the mania is not as intense, nor is the depression as intense as the type 1, but it's still there. And the thing about it is, is that you would think like mania would be something like, oh, I got to go and do this great big project to change the world, blah blah blah. And that's part of it. But the biggest part I found that the mania affects me is it makes me irritable.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, whenever I start getting on that manic side, I really get irritable, and that's not a good way to be when you're in that profession. So
No, and you have to
it,
deal, I guess, with a lot of deaths and funerals and that sort of thing. I'm assuming.
yeah, but that's really no problem, Grandpa. I mean, I don't mind doing that because I feel like I'm just helping the family, right?
Hmm.
Especially with funerals, because I always thought weddings were no problem. You get up there and you read a thing and you say you pronounce them, and then let's go dance. Um, so that's no problem. But funerals to me are the hardest thing, because a funeral is something that a family is going to remember the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And so you can say something that can really
Mm-hmm.
upset them, and they'll never forget it. So you got to be careful. But the approach I've always taken is that whatever the family wants, that's what I'll do. If they just want to have a graveside, that's fine. You tell me what scripture to read. If you don't want to tell me, I'll pick out something and I'll run it by you. But I don't want any surprises. I'll kind of give them an idea about what I'll say. I'll see anyway. To me, that's the most high pressure thing in all of being a minister is doing a funeral.
Yeah.
Do they ever ask you to do a seance where you get in touch with a dead person?
No, but if they did, I would have to say no.
Yeah. It kind of it seems like your irritants would be like kind of like customer service irritants. Like, you get the people asking the same thing or being like
Exactly.
a little, facetious or giving you some lip and you like, I can't stand. Ooh, I can't wait.
Hey, no,
I can't wait.
no, no, you're
Um,
absolutely right. And that's the thing is that being a minister is like when I was in seminary, I had a professor and he told me, he said, all you guys are here and women, all you people are here and with all these idealistic things about how you're going to save the world. But I'm going to tell you what, it won't be long before this is going to become a job. And
mhm,
he's exactly right. It
yeah,
became, it's a job. But you do go in with all these, high ideals and going to save the world and blah blah blah, and hopefully, we do some good. It's very easy to do a lot of bad, uh, get real judgmental and stuff like that, and so
I
you
imagine
really have to.
it's difficult in that if you have an off day, I mean, you could really affect someone's life in a way that it wouldn't be at most jobs, right?
Oh, absolutely, and that's.
Yeah.
But see, but the thing is that I've been dealing with this all my life, and I didn't know it.
Mhm.
yeah,
So I mean, this went all the way back to when I was a kid, and I always wondered why I had a really bad temper, and I was wondering, why am I like this, and why do I get depressed, so much, and then why do I want to go out? Like in 1989, I started a computer store in Cary, North Carolina. We built PCs. We ordered the parts, we built PCs, and we sold them. And that was just one of those manic things that, hey, I want to go do this. It worked
mhm,
out good. I mean, we did well. I was able to pay for my oldest son's college that way. But I mean, but that's something that a normal person wouldn't just say, okay, tomorrow we're
yeah,
going to start doing this.
Yeah. They would probably
So
build Macs or Linux.
yeah. Mhm. Well,
yeah, I use Mac now. I wouldn't use a PC for nothing in the world anymore.
Yeah.
But but
um,
uh,
yeah, sorry.
but anyway, yeah, it can be a problem, and it has been a problem where I would tend to get very irritated at people who uh, in every church you've always got that group of people. It's in it, and it's the way in any organization. I don't care if you're in the Rotary Club or if you're in the Boys Club or if you're in a college fraternity. There's that group of people that they want to run everything.
Mm,
Mm.
You had the same thing in the church,
Mhm.
and many times the things they want to do are kind of, in my opinion, move us in the wrong direction. And I'm not one to hold back, so I don't. So I try to do it in a pleasant way, but
yeah,
sometimes it becomes it has become unpleasant. But ever since I was diagnosed and I was able to get on some psych drugs, it's all been under control. And I've really felt a lot better for the last 10 years or so.
Wow.
So, yeah.
congratulations. Uh, the last thing I'll say about the whole bipolar thing is that it probably was a blessing in disguise too, though, because I think people that are bipolar have multiple perspectives, which helps with empathy, I would think, and sympathy, because you see so many different perspectives, and you probably didn't even know that you were doing stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. Um,
Yeah, that's a good point. What was your name?
Finest,
Linus?
finest. So
Spell it.
Phines.
Oh, finest. Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
I think that's a biblical name, if I'm not too badly mistaken.
yeah.
But
No, I think you're right. It's somewhere in
yeah,
there.
okay.
Hey,
But anyway, yeah, this is
yeah.
great. I mean, I'll back off. I don't want to,
No, we're
you know,
just running over the
overdo
slot,
the.
but we so appreciate you coming on. I'll definitely have you back, and
Yeah,
thank you, Les.
more or less. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
No
Have a great
problem.
Yeah.
day.
Okay. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Thanks.
And we have Wilson.
Oh shit.
Hello, Wilson.
I'm here. I don't know whether or not you can hear me.
We can.
Oh, okay. I'm here.
We're happy to hear you, Wilson.
Yes.
Very
Happy
much
Thursday
so.
to you.
Hello.
Yes.
Happy Thursday.
So, where are we at?
Well, you're here with me, Sierra, Grandpa, and Phines, and I know that we couldn't get you on last week, but we're super happy to have you here. And we've just been talking about basically strange experiences we've had in our lives, and just riffing on that. So
Unusual phenomena that may have
yeah,
happened to you.
yeah. I'm guessing you have one or two.
I'm thinking about it, and whether or not I want to share it.
Ooh, yes. The less you want to share it, the better.
Well, I can
One of
tell
my
you,
philosophies has been, as I'm on this quest to get older, is that yesterday is gone, and I'm not.
Mm.
I like
Beautiful.
that.
That made today a winner.
Yeah.
I can tell you an example of a unusual coincidence for me. I've already discussed a couple of them, but I lived in Palm Springs, California at one time, and I had a bank, I guess you call it a vault or whatever, and a box, and the key number on it was 1614. And I then moved to Palm Beach, Florida, and got a box at the bank, and the key number was 1614. I had no control over that, and it wasn't something that I hallucinated because I have the actual keys on both different boxes. So that's just one example of, an unusual circumstance. So we've been discussing. You can discuss anything you want to discuss, but if you're interested in letting us know of any kind of phenomenal that's happened to you in your life, and we won't consider you crazy if it was unusual, because I think everybody has them.
Yeah.
I was thinking about when I was 16, 17 years old in high school. I was mad, crazy in love with the girl that was engaged to marry somebody else. And ultimately she did, and I went on and married someone else. And I go to the Ohio State Fair, I don't know, 15 years later, and I just bump into this girl out of the blue. And it was a warm reunion, but it was not a rekindled reunion, if you know what I mean. It's just that I had lived I had moved around so much, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Massachusetts, and then to just bump into this girl out of nowhere 15 years later it was kind of unusual. And then another 5 or 10 years goes by. I'm living in Washington, D.C., Alexandria, Virginia, and I bump into the same girl again in a hotel lobby. And I'm thinking,
Wow.
at that time, I had become single, and she was still married to the guy that she dumped me for in the very beginning. And I don't know why I'm giving you guys a litany of a 20-year-old heartbreak.
No, this is. I'm at the
This
edge
is
of my seat.
wild. I'm
I'm at
in
the edge.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, I'm
I
here.
empathize, for real.
I was going to ask somebody a question. Somebody was speaking up on behalf of animals and plants.
That was
Like going to be,
finance.
Oh yeah.
he's going to be a lawyer for both of them.
Yeah.
Well, I eat them both.
That's good. Yeah, that's fine.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
no, that's cool. I mean, businesses have lawyers, and you go to businesses as well.
Rosie is a pet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rosie's the bird.
Oh,
If you hear
oh,
like
okay,
some
yeah.
squawking or some weird squeaks, it's just Rosie hanging out.
There
I
was
just
some discussion about mice, and
Yeah.
I didn't hear the conclusion to this discussion about mice, but I'm wondering was the answer a mouse? I mean a cat.
Well, I happen to
Oh.
live in a condominium where you're not allowed to have dogs and cats, so that's not a
Mice are okay, but no cat. I mean, but no cats.
Right?
That's funny.
Well,
That's funny.
where I live, a high-rise building. They're trying to do something about the mice, but it's very difficult. I think Philadelphia has one of the highest populations of mice in the country.
Dang.
Higher than New York.
I think New York is more about rats.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay.
That's wild.
It's crazy to me that you live in a building where you can have 4 squawking parakeets and no cat.
We're not supposed to.
Ah,
A couple of summers ago, I had a problem with moles in my backyard, digging these holes and making all these mounds. And I went online. They had these little deflectors that are solar powered. They put out a pulse, and then you can buy these fake worms, dig a hole, and hope they eat them.
Wow.
And I don't know if it was working or not because I went online and I was going to buy me a couple of black snakes. And I was thinking those might work on the mice too.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but they also might eat the birds.
Yeah, you'd have to keep that bird in a cage.
Grandpa, you almost got killed by a snake that you had, right?
Yes, I did. I had
Whoa!
a very large boa constrictor, and one day it got around me. And, they cut off your breathing like right away.
Where'd you get him from?
I just barely had enough strength to get it off me. This thing was about, I'd say, 7 or 8 inches in diameter, probably 10 feet long.
Oh.
Once they get around you,
Mm-mm.
it's real hard getting them off.
Yeah.
If you weren't so young and strapping, you would have. That would have
I
been
was
it,
probably
right?
I was like in my early 20s at that time.
It was just pure muscle that you're able to like.
Yeah,
get
it
up.
would have killed me today. It literally, because I don't
Wow.
have that strength.
Dang. What a cool way to go, though.
So where do you get an animal? Where do you get an animal like that?
Well, back when I was younger, you could purchase. They didn't have the restrictions, the laws in the various states like they have today. But there was a company, a wholesaler in Florida called Miami Pet, and I purchased a lion from them. I purchased other wild cats, snakes, and other animals. And there was a woman in Pennsylvania that sold ocelots, and I had owned 2 ocelots when I was a young guy. But today, you're not. Most states don't allow those type pets.
You were like Mike Tyson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, I didn't know you had a lion.
Well, the lion was the exception. Really wasn't mine. I bought it for someone else, a friend of mine, and I had it for a few weeks, and then I gave it to him. So he had it for a while, and the lion developed bone deficiencies, calcium deficiencies. That's a problem with wild cats if they're not kept with the right diets and in the right atmosphere, right sunlight, and so forth. They can develop a lot of issues.
Oof. That's wild.
How did you not get bit by the lion?
Well, this was a baby.
Muscle.
It was a little baby. It would gnaw on your arm, but it couldn't hurt you.
Yeah.
But one time they had 2 young tigers at Philadelphia Zoo, and and you could play with them. And I put my hand in their cage. They had no teeth, and they grabbed a hold of my hand, and I literally couldn't pull my hand away. That's how powerful their jaws are. These were just small babies. They were maybe a foot or 16, 17 inches in length, but they have very strong jaws.
Yeah. Going back to the snake, like, what are you thinking in the moment? Because it was in a closet, right? And you had opened the closet, and then
No, that was a different. Yeah, that was a different time. No, I was playing with the snake. Letting it. And it just wrapped around me and just started. Once when you breathe out, they constrict.
Oh
and
my
then you
God.
can't. Then you can't breathe in.
Were you alone at the
time? Wow.
I was alone.
Cool.
Yeah. Another time, I had a friend of mine. I had a friend of mine come over, and I did have a snake in my closet, and it had gone in and out of various articles of clothing, the sleeves. And when he saw that thing, he jumped back. He literally jumped backwards.
Yeah.
Uh,
You're like, it's just my new coat.
yeah.
Yeah.
But curiosities when I was young.
No, but Grandpa, when it's around your neck right before you take it off, like what goes through your head? Like, did you
Well,
think
it
you were
never
gonna
got around my neck. Had it gotten around my neck, I probably wouldn't have made it. It was around my upper body,
what? Yeah,
around
but
where my lungs would be.
what were you thinking when it was there? Like,
It was instinctual. I just get it off.
yeah,
It's just instinctual. You immediately
crazy.
do everything you can to pull it off.
Jeez.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, Wilson, you still on?
Yeah, I'm just thinking that's just fascinating now. A snake big enough to eat you, and you can't get your hands on your pocket knife. Ugh.
Yeah.
I've seen Animal Planet, and these big snakes, boy. Every time you breathe out, they get a little bit tighter.
That is so smart. I did not know that before that moment, for this moment, but it makes sense. What a smart animal.
I don't
Yeah.
like that.
Then your heart stops, and
Oh
you
my
suffocate.
Gee.
They kill now alligators in Florida. These large, they're not boa constrictors. They're pythons. They've had a lot of problems down in Florida with them killing. Normally they'll kill birds and things like that, but they'll grab even large animals.
Yeah, I mean that's good. Florida, if I'm not wrong, they have a huge gator problem right now, right? It's just overrun.
I think at one time they did. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah. I read that they killed a lady like maybe a couple months ago. She saw a gator. She was at a friend's place and there was like a pond or something, and she was like, "Oh my god, an alligator!" And they're like, "Get away from it!" And she's like, What's it gonna do? Eat me?" And then she reached over the pond, and then the friend was like far away, just saw
See,
her body go under,
this is why
and
animals need lawyers. I'm sorry. Just saying.
just hungry, just hungry.
No, she was just stupid.
Yo, the crazy part is the last thing she said is like, "I'm not gonna do that again." Like I think those were her last words when she came back up and then went down, and then that was that. But
Now,
Wow.
have you young guys or lady had any of these unusual experiences?
Not with animals.
No, I mean any phenomena that would be, not you wouldn't normally expect something like that in your life.
I can't really. The only time something really weird that I still don't know about happened to me was there was one time I was walking my dogs at a park, and I had two really tiny like little terrier looking things, and these big white, like, I don't know, like Malamute type, these really big fluffy white dogs, like very large, like on all fours, like 3 or 4 feet tall, just some big old boys. These two dogs showed up, and they didn't have an owner, and they were just by themselves, and they like sniffed our dogs, and we were like, oh well, hell, like, because my dogs were like part Chihuahua, so they had like a lot of anxiety, and one of them just had straight up rage for bigger dogs. So we're like, we got to get out of here, because I don't know, these guys are not contained, my dog can't be contained, so we got to like split up. And we were trying to get away from these dogs, and they were just really silently like following us. And we I think it was like over 10 years ago, but they did something. They like nipped at us, or they barked like once. And so then we tried to like move away. And when we turned around, there was no trace of these giant white, like, they're not huskies, Malamute, whatever. These like Cuba Gooding Jr. snow dogs. Okay, they were gone.
Mhm.
And we were like, and I looked at my brother and I was like, "Did you see that?" And he's like, "Yeah." And we're like, "But where did the dog go?" I don't know. And we ran back to the car. My mom was waiting in the car, and we're like, "Did you see that dog?" And she's like, "Yeah." We're like, "Where did they go?" And she's like, "I don't know." So it was just like, we always call them the ghost dogs that
Wow.
tried to get our
that's
goods.
that's some Game of Thrones shit, right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. The
Hey,
little.
Brandon, I don't know why, but your sound volume for me is very low relative to everyone else.
Is it?
I didn't try to boost that.
I can
Bip-bip-bop.
also turn it up.
Okay.
How's that? Is that better?
Oh yeah,
Wow.
Now it's louder than everybody
Now
else.
it's too loud.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
right there.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
good.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually have an unusual dog story. It's a bit more. I don't know about sad, but like, you remember Rusty, Grandpa?
Sure, absolutely. I love him. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this dog. I had a beautiful Labradoodle who, when he was 11, he got cancer. It was like my last year of college, and I was like, I think I was living in New Brunswick, and my parents' place is like 45 away. So I would like drive home a lot and like sleep next to him on the floor because he was just so sick he couldn't like get upstairs really.
Yeah.
And the last day, so basically there was this one I was talking to my mom. I was like, yeah, I'm like in finals, I have a lot of stuff that I got to do, and she's like, oh no, he's fine, like Rusty's doing great, like you don't have to drive home today. And I was like, okay. So I was like driving from one place to another, and then I was on the highway about to pass the exit to go to my place, and like I mean, I've never had this experience before, but I just like got a real deep feeling in my chest, and like my hands moved for me, and I just took the exit. I was like, okay, I guess I really just want to go home today. And so I went home, and I laid with him in the living room, and I like was just petting him, and he looked great. He was actually completely fine. He was just like eating all of his food, and my mom had made like this big like uh I don't know, fancy feast for him, meal, whatever, and he was like slurping it up, doing super well, and his body at that time had like a bunch of like lesions or whatever. So I'm like, oh, he's doing so good. It's good that I came home. I like hugged him and I kissed him right on the nose, and then I left. And then I got the call that he had passed away like that night. Um, and like it really didn't feel like me that was like making that exit to go see, because there was like plenty of days that I had just like not gone. And my mom said that that night, um, he like looked at the house for one last time, and then like hid in a corner and stuff. And I went back to get his body, all that stuff the next day, and I don't know. There's not really a lot of butterflies, but like, and maybe my mom was like, whatever. But like, there was this butterfly that like I had never seen anything that looked like it, just like right outside the window, like as soon as we got home, and it was just there, right in front of our backyard, and it just like flew away. And that was the last time I've seen a butterfly in my backyard. So I don't know. I don't know.
I
That's
used to
probably the most.
I used to
Yeah.
take Rusty for walks, and he was always anxious to go out for walks. And I noticed the last time I came over that he didn't want to go, and I
No.
thought that
Yeah.
there must have been something wrong.
Yeah. No, he was a good boy. He was just
He
very
was.
sick. Really good boy. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. That's probably the most like
How about you,
unusual
Phines?
thing.
Any unusual experiences?
Um, yeah, I feel like I've had a lot of unusual experiences. I'm so science minded. I try to explain everything with some type
Yeah.
of like, oh, this is what happened.
Yeah.
Um, but work at the hospital for like those 7 years, I think I met some people and connected with people that so strongly, like be it a patient or a family member of a patient or just people in the hospital in general, that um, it's just like eerie. You know how like it's like almost when you walk in a room, you're like, oh, okay, like there's just some type of like I don't or a feeling. And then you talk to the person you take. I think taking care of someone's really intimate in general, because they're very vulnerable and they're in a situation where they're not at home. So I think a lot of those connections I had were, I can't put into words besides like a feeling that I never had before between like something I can't even I try to explain it like hmm I just have met some really powerful people or really strong people and strong characters, and um, I think it's cool that both me and the person could feel it. And I think that's something that's pretty like uh, sixth senses, like
Yeah.
something like that. So I think those are pretty big, and um, Yeah, I don't know. A lot of little stuff at the hospital. A lot of stuff that, like I said, most of the time I just brush everything under the rug and go, oh, whatever. It's just science, or it's just my mind acting up. So I don't really think too much about it. But the older I get, the more I'm more like, I wonder if I, from killing all these cockroaches, is the reason why this happened. Like, is this all that karma? So I now think about that stuff now, but I'll keep an eye on it. But for the most part, I can't think of anything extraordinary. Oh, my sister's favorite holiday is Halloween, and she loves Halloween so much. It's like she used to make this big deal of it every single year. And ironically, she passed away on Halloween, like on her biggest day, like her first time owning a house, and was having trick or treaters. And right before like the trick or treaters came, she like had a stroke. Um, and then I moved to New York, and on Halloween, like a year later, for the first time. And I don't know, I just kind of like I still kind of feel. I don't know how I feel. Halloween's really cool now because it's not only a fun holiday, it's also really eerie and ironic. But like in that Halloween, like in that cool, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The shame someone had to pass.
Your sister must have been quite young.
Yeah, she was 33.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My natural father passed away at that age.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's yeah, not cool. C'est la vie though. But and also lighter note, I'm hoping a couple Halloweens from now, I get a real good, like I go to a banging ass party or something crazy, and I can like, oh, that was Shannon, that was my sister doing that for me. I'm sure
Hooking
that'll
you
be
up
the
on
case.
Halloween.
Oh boy, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Is
Dolph.
Kevin on, Sierra?
Kevin is sort of on. I'm getting like a question mark next to his name, which I haven't experienced before.
Whoa.
He's kind of bopping back in and out,
Talk about
and
unusual experiences.
it's loading. Now it's waiting. I'm not
Yeah.
really sure. We'd love to have you, Kevin. If you can, are you there, God?
Right.
It's me, Jonah. I just would like to continue, but maybe. We don't know.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I would like to say something unrelated. I would like to apologize for last week because I was very, what's the word? I was very dismissive of the post office being overrun with tomfoolery. And I didn't realize, I think, until like the next day, I think I saw it on Twitter that,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I knew they were like destroying things, and like I kind of thought they were just doing things in like massive like post office like buildings and branches. But then I saw like a video on Twitter where they were literally taking like the blue mailboxes and just putting them on trucks and taking them away. And I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
what on, yeah, like the whole, like the regular big old things you see, like they're just taking them away from like corners and people's neighborhoods and like plazas.
Let's see if you get to vote.
Right. Nah, they're just straight up taking them away, and I was like, well, what the hell? So I guess it didn't hit me. I don't think I've been affected yet by the imminence of destroying the post office, but I saw that and I was like, what on earth? And I just saw a story today about how hundreds of chickens in New England were like delivered dead because of the delay in the shipping, like whatever system they have
Oh
for
my
like
God.
shipping like chicks or
Mhm.
eggs. They're supposed to, like, I guess, go through rather quickly and then be delivered to somewhere like a hatchery or somewhere where they can actually like take care of the chickens and grow them or sell them or cook them or whatever. And they all died. And like usually on a shipment you might get like one or two, maybe like five that died out of hundreds, literally like hundreds of chicks are dying in these shipments. And
They
so
just all starved to death, or
I think they just died or whatever, or it could have just been like the conditions of the packaging being in there too long. Yeah.
so awful.
So delayed. So there's like a bunch of stuff going on.
Well, what's been
Yeah.
going on with the post office is the most largest, greatest form of corruption right now. It's total corruption in the government. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a bad joke and I also have a statement. Let's see, which one should I go with first? I guess a bad joke since I already have it. We can just use smoke signals if we need to vote and just start burning some stuff. That's the whole rioting thing. That's a joke about this is why people riot. They
Like
get upset, man.
a blue smoke signal or a red smoke signal.
As long as it says I want Trump out of office, then it is what it is, I suppose. If they don't let me vote for it, if they don't let me send mail in. But no, there was something more important. Oh yeah, yeah, chickens, but also medicine that has given to people during the quarantine that can't leave to go to the hospital. How they supposed to get their medicine on time?
Yeah,
You
it's
know
crazy.
what? And medications and food, and there's just people that really need the mail quite a bit. Um, and I still July. It's over a month. I sent a
The
package to myself for July 13th. It's August 20th. I still ain't got my package yet.
I feel like maybe your neighbor has it.
All my
they
all
they
my all my Flintstone vitamins. What I'm gonna do?
they missed two deliveries at our building. That's the first two deliveries that two different Mondays in my lifetime where the post office actually didn't deliver, and it really the corruption is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
The excuse of the postmaster
Oh my
is that
God. Yeah.
that they're losing money, but they've been losing money for years and years, and also they carry, I don't know if you know what franking is, but they carry all of the government mail for
Yeah.
nothing, and right before the election when we need the equipment, they've cut back on overtime pay, they've cut back on
Mhm.
the personnel and pulled all these high speed machines out. It's just it's really an affront on our democracy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's
want to
it's a
apologize to you too, Grandpa, because you were ahead of the curve.
You are.
Just by a week. But I was like, okay, the post office, but like, yeah, for real.
Well, we watch a lot of the politics.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
Is
It,
Wilson still here?
Oh yeah.
Wilson?
I just said
Wil-
we watch we watch a lot of the politics and what's going on with
Wilson.
government and this administration, and but this is very serious because if people can't get their votes in, then we're going to have an unfair election.
Yeah.
Like every year we have an
I
unfair
love
election.
I love
Yeah.
having I love having Wilson on, and I hope he's still here.
I'm
And every
still
time,
here.
oh
Okay, good,
great,
good.
great, great.
I'm thinking about this.
I feel like we're always in the movie Castaway, where I'm like Tom Hanks, like Wilson, like, please.
That's the first time I ever heard that.
That's
Oh
funny.
no, probably not.
With this, you know, if you like Biden, then you watch CNN, MSNBC, and they'll tell you all the things you want to hear. If you like Trump, watch Fox, and they'll tell you pretty much whatever you want to hear. And hard to know sometimes what's true and what's not.
Hmm.
I know that people that were getting that $600 that ain't getting it now. I know they in trouble. I know that's correct.
Yeah.
Uh, and everybody wants to go to work.
Yeah.
I've never experienced anything like it in my lifetime. What's been going on, but
We haven't had a meal outside of this house since March.
Same gang. Wilson, yes. I haven't either. I have not had any takeout or anything.
And I've had some takeout that they
I
brought in,
haven't.
but we haven't had a meal. Every meal we've had has been inside this building.
Yeah.
Keep handy the sanitary wipes in the car.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
did I lose a
No,
signal?
No, you're
no.
fine.
Hey Wilson, how you? I know we talked last time about your marriage and your wife and all that, but you personally, how you holding up psyche wise with all since you haven't been out since March? Like, has it affected you? You think?
Well, I don't like being locked up, and I shouldn't say I'm completely locked up because I still go to Lowe's and
Hmm.
the Food Lion, and occasionally to the ABC store. That's where you get booze in North Carolina.
Oh wow.
Other than that, we got enough space that we're not on top of each other all the time.
Hmm.
And I tell you, I've been with this girlie for 30 years now, and I still like her.
Hmm. That's a good thing.
Good.
And that does make it bearable. And we got enough space to, she's pretty good for getting in 7,500 steps a day, and
Wow.
I'm pretty
Nice.
good at getting in at least 1 full mile in the pool a week.
The pool. Where at? What pool you go to?
The one in my backyard.
Oh shoot.
got a pool.
Yeah, man, I got it going on like that.
Yeah. I mean, you also have the kids that are in that do very well for themselves. Yes.
Yes, they do. Yes, they
Yeah.
do.
Oh yeah. Man, you
Yeah.
live in it.
Son is working on his PhD. Wife's working on her PhD. Daughter's in New York. I haven't sent that. I don't think I sent either one of them any money in probably a year or two, which is okay by me.
Yeah, for sure. Especially you got a pool, and that's pool money.
And the telephone rings at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Uh
That's probably a call for money.
huh.
Yo, can I ask you something, Wilson?
Anything.
Going back to anything, going back to that coincidental where you kept seeing that woman over and over again.
Yes.
What do you think that is? You think that's love in the universe, or God, or fate, or
The first time it was just an unusual coincidence.
yeah?
But the second time it was kind of like it was kind of like a feel good. It was kind of like a feel good moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was a real good feeling for me because we're sitting physically close together, and I didn't really notice this woman. And she was with her younger sister, and she came over and said, "Are you James?" And I was like, "Oh, I do know who it is." And this was in the Radisson Hotel in Alexandria. And I had just gotten off work, happy hour and all that. I was still young. And I was meeting this girl that was just a fucking movie star, which, makes you feel really good when the girl that blew you off sees you walk away with a really pretty girl. So that was the feel good part. So I don't know if that answered your question or not, but definitely did not make me feel like love in the universe.
Do you do you
Pretty
go
good
by
about shoes,
do you
though.
go by James too?
Huh?
Do you go by James as well?
Yes. My name is James Randall Wilson, and I use Wilson James Randall. That's my stage name.
I see. Okay, I like it. Yeah.
Fancy.
And it also helps me have a real fine distinction with regards to email that I send and receive.
Side note too, and some knowledge about me, I guess, is Tom Hanks from Castaway. We had the same birthday. We're both exact same
Ooh.
birthday. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Do you remember his first TV show?
Toy Story the series?
Yeah, the
I don't
series.
know. I don't know. Nuh-uh. What is it?
He was playing a girl.
And
Well, he was a guy, but he couldn't find a place to live, so he passed himself off as a woman to live in the women's housing, and then he fell in love with one of the girls that lived in the complex.
oh wow,
Let
you
me
remember?
see
You
if
know
I
the
can
show?
think of the name.
So you remember the?
I'm sitting at my computer. I'm gonna get the name of this dude.
I did not know that.
No, I did not know that. I thought he was all movies type of guy, but didn't know he was in a series. Hmm. Oh, and I also had something to say about the aliens since we're on this little lull. I think is this makes me not believe in them and also believe in them. It is hard for me to believe that we've been here for so long and we haven't been able to. If someone hasn't tried to get in contact with us or we haven't gotten in contact with someone else, they're either that means that there's no one there or that there's something else going on, like where like I know there's a whole like theory of like a zoo theory of like the reason why we see saucers is because there's people trying to contact us because we're being like basically we're in a zoo, kind of like we're
Oh, hello.
Bosom Buddies. That was the name of the Tom Hanks show.
I'll have
oh,
to look for that. Bosom
I'm gonna look
Buddies.
it up. Yeah, that sounds hilarious. How old was he?
He must have been in his 20s.
Dang.
Incidentally, Brandon,
Yeah.
I had given you the name Anchor. Were you able to find out anything about that connecting into the social media?
Oh yeah. We're gonna upload at least the audio version of this live, starting with the first episode this week. So that's exciting. Yeah, and it's gonna go everywhere. Wilson, your voice is gonna be everywhere. Spotify, iTunes.
How will we market it so people know to tune in?
I'll pose naked. I don't know. I'm
We do
kidding.
have a shaky marketing squad. I don't think either one of us are very socially active on the
My
media.
grandfather has the best social media presence here. So
Sierra, I want to thank you for forwarding the edited programs to me.
Oh yeah, thank you. I can share the rest of them with you
Yeah,
later this week.
thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll be tweeting it out. You can tweet it out. If you don't have Twitter, you can just like click on your contact list and just check all on your email and just send the
Okay.
link out.
is Kevin
What else?
here
Kevin,
now?
yes,
Can you hear me?
Kevin. Hello.
Hello
Oh,
there.
yes, Kevin.
How are you guys? Sorry for the trouble getting on.
No
No, much
problem.
much love,
Yeah.
Kevin. I miss this is Kevin is a great actor, old friend from a few years ago now. Happy to have him on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
All
Kevin,
right.
you're on with me, Grandpa, Phines, and Sierra, and
Hello,
Wilson.
Brandon, or me,
Yeah,
Grandpa, Finance, and Sierra.
Hello.
yeah,
Hello.
Mhm.
yeah. Wilson, you got any departing thoughts or?
I think that we had a rousing conversation today. I didn't get a chance to talk about plants, but I do know there was a lot of talk about it. And
We'll have you on to talk
I have
about
about
plants soon.
80 house plants on the first floor of the house.
Oh
Dang.
wow.
Whoa.
And the caring for them is a piece of work. I've also got something called evening primrose, and I'm going to say we got I don't know, a dozen stalks, and these things I can put them on put a camera on them, and they open up every night about 8:30,
Wow.
quarter to 9. The bees get them in the morning, they die, fall off, and they do it again the next day. Those aren't
Oh,
party
that's
words, are they?
cool.
That's starting a whole
Amazing.
conversation.
Maybe next week we'll pull some of those photos up. Thank you so much for being on, Wilson.
Yeah, thank
Uh,
you.
Thank
talk soon.
you.
Yeah. See you,
You
Wilson.
guys stay
Thank you.
safe.
You too. Have a good day.
Yeah, Kevin,
Yes, sir.
how are you? Just to start off, how are you doing,
I
my friend?
I am well, bro. As you may or may not know, I had a vehicle accident
Oh my gosh.
a few weeks back. I was on one of those Rebel scooters and tried to slide into home run. And fortunately, I was called out safe. Um,
Oh.
and yeah, but it was left me limping for a bit and
Oh my
healing.
god.
Had some ugly road rash, but on the mend and feeling great.
Yeah.
Kevin,
Face.
How many CC was the scooter you were on?
It was electric. It was one of those Rebel. They only get up to they have a governor on them, so they don't go any faster than 30 miles an hour.
Oh.
Okay. Now, was the accident your fault or someone else?
It was the city's. It was a very just odd natural thing. And making a turn, I slipped on an oil slicked road, and
Oh wow.
yeah, pretty bad.
Damn.
I bought a scooter back in the 50s, and at that time it was one of the best scooters. And I was riding on the interstate and came off of the brand new unit. Came off of a ramp, and there was gravel, and I slid and went onto the side. I didn't get hurt because it had like a shield in the front of the scooter, but
Mm-hmm.
it scraped it up a little bit. So I understand exactly what you're talking about. But
Yeah.
I'm always concerned about people that aren't, they're on a cell phone or something and they're not watching where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I've been rear-ended in my car, and had I been on a scooter, it would be real serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I was ordering food while catcalling and nah, I was just had both hands on the wheel, on the steering wheel, on the handlebars, and had my helmet on, and yeah, it was
Yeah.
just one of those freak accidents. And thankfully, injuries weren't as bad as they could have been. The road rash on
Face
my
still look
arm,
like a face still look like a movie star, or
yeah.
I'm,
With the
I'm sure
exception
you
of-
saw what happened to Simon Cowell.
oh
Uh,
God,
what
yeah,
happened to him?
He broke his back.
yeah.
bad
Three different
bad
places on his
What
spine.
he do?
scooter.
He was riding a they call it an e-bike, but really it was more of a motorcycle. It was a uh, very powerful e-bike,
Like a Tesla.
much more powerful than what Kevin's talking about.
Yeah.
Probably 40 times as powerful, and
Okay.
because it ran at 15 horsepower, which would be like 15 kilowatts, and the motor scooter that Kevin was riding is probably about a half a kilowatt, 500 watts.
Mhm.
So he actually flipped it over. It flipped over on him, and he
Phew.
broke three different places in his spinal column,
That doesn't sound good.
discs or whatever.
What's your prognosis, Kevin? It's all good.
It's all good. I am ambitious that before the weekend is out, I'm gonna be riding my bike again. Bicycle.
Wow.
Right now, my knee doesn't fully bend.
Oh,
I had 6 stitches in it, and the stitches are out.
okay, good.
Yeah. You guys can't see me; you can only hear me, and I'm wearing I'm wearing Invisalign mouth braces, so
Yeah.
it has me slurring a little. I'm getting used to. I just did a voiceover. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
With this sound, with these in my mouth.
Were you a drunk person?
You're drunk. Yeah. Better.
I can't tell. You sound fine.
Yeah.
Well, I hear this like I'm trying to suck up the saliva to not slur,
Yeah.
You-
and being quite illiterate at the same time.
Yeah, you're doing
Every Monday morning, I'm like, no, guys, it's my Invisalign.
yeah. AA meetings.
Hi, I'm Brandon. I wear
I'm
Invisalign.
an
All the
Invisalign.
time. Oh.
Yeah,
My
dude.
breath.
All right. I really want to get into the prompts with you because I feel like basically we're asking like what strange experiences or what's the craziest coincidences of your entire life, whether supernatural or just weird. I
Mhm.
feel like you definitely have at least one. So
At least one. Oh my God, I've got every day of my life something
yeah,
seems to
yeah,
happen that is like, oh my gosh, like to the point where I fear telling people about them because like I can talk for days and days about like all of these just
well,
seemingly
you got 20
phenomenal
minutes.
things. Okay. um. Well, the most something that I just take for granted now. But it just happens. It happened because it happens so often now. Is Susan, my partner, my sweetie? She and I will say the most bizarre things at the same time. That it blows my mind that will really not have anything to do with anything that's being said. Um, and sometimes we'll break into song with it at the same time, same song, and it's just so bizarre. So like those things happen every day that, like I said, I now take it for
Yeah,
granted. But
just
when it
sounds
first
like
started,
true love.
yeah, I'll chalk it up
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
But here's an experience that happened with someone that Brandon. So I was in Atlanta at this film festival, and I was there with a couple of producers that I was doing a project with, and we were shopping for crew and for people for a project. And I'm leaving this one of the panels, and as I'm walking out, exiting, the person in front of me was this very eclectically dressed artist type, And I assumed by the way she was dressed that she would either be an art director or a costume designer. And so, both of which we needed for the project that we were working on. So I approached this person and asked, and she replied that she was an artist. And I think she may have said like one other word after that. And I said to her, "Oh my gosh, you remind me of my friend Rami." And she said, "Rami Margron, my friend since we were 6 years old, going to camp together from California." And it was just so bizarre. Like I'd never seen this woman in my life before, knew nothing about her, and just happened to say, someone whose energy she reminded me of. And, it's her best friend. And it was just so bizarre. And then she and I both called Rami, and we were like, "Oh my God, it's amazing."
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
Rami must have been freaked out. Like, oh my,
yeah, she
how?
was.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
odds of that are so low. It's crazy.
yeah. That it kind of blew my mind. So now, yeah, we're friends.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
I had
wild.
go ahead.
And she and I, as a matter of fact, she's a casting director as well, and she cast Emily uh, in her first commercial, her first on camera
Wow.
something in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I bet Emily was happy about the connect.
she was. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah,
Or
that's
yeah.
one of those like just like weird things to me. Energy. I mean, I don't think that it's really weird, but just one of those things that can't really explain. It's like you know, getting hit by being hit by lightning.
What
Yeah.
were you
I
about
had
to
a
say, Grandpa?
similar experience. It's similar in some ways. I did a recording with a fella that is a very fine cellist, and the following day, now Philadelphia is a pretty big city, a lot of people downtown at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Happened to run
Is
into
that
him
Shulman?
twice.
I mean, oh no.
I happened to run into him twice while I was driving through the city.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going into a store, and I mean, Philadelphia is a very large city, so
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't expect to see the same person twice.
Yeah.
You're being stalked, Grandpa.
It could be, or it's all the same mind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's only one mind.
It's crazy that when I first moved to New York, I was like, I cannot believe how big the city is, small suburbs in Jersey. And I would just be like, the odds of seeing somebody I know are almost none,
Mm-hmm.
And for the first 2 years I was here, it was never. And then it was like all of a sudden one day a switch was flipped, and I literally, not now, but non-COVID times, ran into somebody I knew every single day,
Dang.
Wow.
like back to back to back to back. It's
Yeah. Do you think it
insane.
was somebody telling you something, or do you think it was just like? Did you
Uh,
think anything of it?
I don't know. I'd love for you to touch on the one mind thing, Grandpa, because like I heard this thing where it's like we're all just in a movie, we're all in the Truman Show, and we got like 200 extras just walking through our lives over and over, and it really feels like that sometimes. But
Yeah, wow. I've ran into this guy that I hadn't seen in over 20 years. Oh my gosh, I'm telling my age. So
mm,
this guy I hadn't seen in over 20 years. I ran into, ran into him, he and his wife, and this was in one state. I ran into him the following day, and we're like, "Oh yeah, we should catch up." Blah 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 blah. We exchange info and everything. The following day, I'm in another state, like way away from the state that I was in the previous day when I ran into him, and randomly decide to pull into the rest area, pull around, right around the parking lot, and then we finally park. And as we're exiting the vehicle, he and his wife are walking out of the rest area.
wow.
And it was like I've not seen him in over 20 years, and I run into him back-to-back days in 2 different states. Insane.
Yeah. Yeah. You think that's telling you something?
I said that. I said, "Oh, well, we certainly are supposed to, for some reason, we're supposed to be back in one another's lives at this moment." So we've
Yeah.
not figured it out yet, but
I feel like
it at least gave me a story to tell.
I was either with you, Kevin, like walking down the street and I ran into somebody I knew,
Mhm.
or I was with someone else and I ran into you, Kevin. Do you remember that happening?
Uh, maybe you running into someone else.
Yeah, I remember we went to that movie and then that guy who was dating the person
Oh,
that was
yes, yes,
yes.
yes. When we were coming
Yeah.
out of going into the subway, he was coming out.
Yeah, all the time.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
Literally all
yeah.
the time.
The actor.
Yeah. Ooh. That's our
Sound effects.
wind tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we've got another person whose name is Brandon on the line, and we've
Great,
got a
great.
Zoomie on the line waiting.
Yeah, let's we'll give you 5 more. I got one last question for you, Kevin. Have you ever had any ghosts, alien, anything supernatural? What are your thoughts on?
I am not sure if I've. I mean, I don't disbelieve
Mm,
any of that. So they could be in my existence, and I guess if they're good energy, it doesn't affect me in any way.
yeah.
I have a friend that is a psychic and has been paid by multiple law enforcement agencies to like give her opinion or thoughts on where she thinks someone is or what they could have done or what have you. And she talks about ghosts in that, like in a way that like they can just be very friendly spirits or whatever. There are a lot of stories in my family about various ghosts, and some of my family members, a couple of my family members, have homes that supposedly have money in the walls from ghosts, but everyone's afraid of going in and trying to retrieve it. Um,
Shoot, I'll
yeah,
go.
I've not had any negative experiences with any spirits, but I do sense energies around me that aren't necessarily, visible.
I don't think I believe, but I wish I did. Like it would change my whole perspective and would be really nice. I mean,
Mhm.
knock on wood. I don't know. That's like I don't want to get haunted tomorrow.
Oh
Now
my
the ghost,
god.
the ghosts are like, you saw him knock on that wood.
All
That
right,
dude's
let's go.
screwed.
Yay.
Hilarious.
Doesn't believe in us and knocks on wood. This
Uh
fuck.
oh,
But
silly, silly.
yeah, I will. All right, I got one story for you, Kevin. But like,
Mhm.
this is not my story, but someone close to me. I won't say who it is, but they had a dream one night. It's pretty crazy where they were on vacation. All of a sudden, they went to sleep, and this shadowy figure, started just standing at the foot of their bed, and two more shadowy figures were like in a diagonal on the corners of the room. So it was 3 figures just in a triangle staring at this person, and the whole night it was like insane. It felt like she was sleeping, but like these figures were watching over her. Then she woke up, didn't think anything of it. The very next night, had the exact same dream. um, Figures still didn't say anything. Woke up the third night, she was asleep and then woke up in this sort of dream state, saw the one figure was closer to the bed and the 2 other figures were farther back, and the one in the middle said, "I have to go now." And then was taken away by the figures in the back, and then she woke up and almost like immediately after was informed that someone very close to her that she knew had passed away in like a freak motorcycle accident, like right there and then.
Mm.
So I mean, I don't know. It, I feel like there's something to it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
Energies.
Energy, energy, energy.
Energies.
Anyway, that's the Grandpa and Me show. Time for our
Oh,
yeah.
maybe we could have a program eventually about your favorite foods.
Yo,
Cooked by spirits.
yeah, it's so good to have you on, Kevin. We're hitting 4:45, so I think it's
Thank
time for
you.
Brandon. But yeah, thanks for being on, man.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Yes, thank you.
guys,
Same.
stay well.
You
Yeah,
too.
see you.
Have a good day.
All
See you
right,
next time.
thank you. Bye.
Other individual named Brandon. Hello.
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 Hi.
How
Welcome
are
to
you?
the show.
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that.
Great, Brandon. You're on with Brandon, Grandpa, Phines, and Sierra. So
Mike,
happy to
thanks for
have
having
you.
me on.
Thank you
Yeah.
for coming.
You're very welcome.
Well,
How you doing?
we've been discussing unusual situations in your life. You know, I don't know if you'd call it the occult or things that have happened to you that the coincidences are very strange, or
hmm
you know anything of that nature that you may have experienced in your life.
Yeah, I was listening, and so like I think I'm in like the same boat. Like I don't know if I necessarily believe in the whole like ghost and supernatural. There was one like many years ago. I still can't explain it to this day, and the guy who involves us now emphatically denies this. So I was going. It was like my early teenage years. It was when I was in through my theme of going to the Boy Scouts. We were in this camping trip, and so like I hear this strange noise in the middle of the night, and so I come out, and one of my other buddies who was at camping with us that weekend, he was sitting there and just like doing what I can only describe as some sort of ritual around the campfire. And as I got closer, like his eyes were like all glazed over and everything, and so I was just like I sat there and watched him as he just did. I don't know what if it was like some sort of like ritualistic dance or like some sort of like deal with the devil or whatever. And so, but I watched for like 5 minutes and I was just like, nope, I'm out of here. I still cannot. And I asked him about it the next morning. He goes, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, dude, I saw you.
Was
And
anybody smoking anything?
no, I mean he wasn't touching the fire. He was kind of just like just he wasn't saying anything. He was just sitting almost like dancing around the fire, and his eyes were a
Nah,
little bit glazed over.
I don't know
And so
about that.
I was just like, nope, I don't know what's going on here. I just went back. I'm like, I'm done with this.
Mhm, mhm.
Uh,
What a thought that just came in my head about all this stuff is that religions that are popular now are wild. You know, like Christianity and like the stuff that goes
hmm
on, people walking on water and blood of wine and all types of crazy stuff. So what's the big step from that and then someone dancing around a fire? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there a big is there a big gap? Can this stuff be so true? If we're having these issues, I just was thinking about that because I'm like, wasn't there a burning bush that talked at some point in some type of
Yeah,
religion?
and so I think a lot of those like old stories and everything were appears to like actually like like are so commonplace nowadays, but back in the olden times they just didn't understand it.
Hmm.
Like like all the like stories, movies been made about like the Wizard of Merlin.
Hmm.
That everyone thinks nowadays that he was nothing more than just a chemist, and that his so-called magical potions back in the day were nothing more than like chemistry concoctions.
Right.
And so
Mm,
I think like back in those days, like it's just something that maybe something like a spark or something caused that burning bush or something they didn't understand back then, but
Hmm.
now just be like, what are you talking about? Why would you think that's abnormal?
Right. Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I just finished Frankenstein, and they talk about like because the guy that made the monster, you know, he was into
Mm-hmm.
alchemy and all this different types of magic. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and again, same thing you were saying, like it just seems to me like okay, that's just early like chemistry and early like just
Yeah.
trying to figure out answers and all this stuff like that. So I do think that maybe some wild stuff happened and they just explained it by a spark in the sky, or
Yeah.
we have had conversations with these people about these moments of specialness that are
Mm-hmm.
some type of unique situation. So I mean, maybe people were just I don't know. You know, who knows? I guess we don't know.
they
And
they they say
Yeah.
that the burning bush was what, like a lightning hitting a book?
I
Like,
haven't. I have
They
no.
said I think that's always like some sort of like their first defense. Like if something happens like they don't understand or what if they like back in the day they automatically called it sorcery, when it's like maybe it's something normal they just didn't understand. Or
Mm-mm.
like nowadays we just call like like how
mm,
the Catholic Church identifies miracles now. They're like, well, can they go to all scientists? Can you explain it? And they're like, we don't know. And they're like, oh, it must be a miracle then. I think that's just people just jumping to conclusions. Okay, you just haven't been able to find someone who can
Yeah,
explain what it is. And so I think even like 100 years from now, the what's being so-called miracles now is just going to be like commonplace. We just didn't understand it.
I agree with that. I think that maybe like someday someone's gonna be able to make like a fireball and go, all you had to do was touch the sky 3 times, duh,
Yeah,
or something like that. And you guys thought it was sorcery when clearly this is chemistry. But
yeah.
I think that could happen. I mean, not. I don't think it can happen, but I get what you're saying.
Grandpa,
Um,
you have a lot of beliefs, Grandpa, that can't be explained by science, right?
I have. When I was a young man or a child,
Mhm.
reported in Philadelphia, we have a large city park here called Fairmount Park, and there were two young men that claimed to have seen a burning bush in the park that just continued burning. It didn't burn out. And, that's a similar experience to what the gentleman was just explaining.
Mm,
But I think that it's always hard to accept someone else's unusual experience. It's hard to get it into your head, and especially if you haven't really had that experience in your life of having something that's very unusual or, in the sense, supernatural. It's
Mm.
difficult to accept that, and so you try to find rationalizations for uh, for why it might have happened.
you
mhm.
think that's because it attacks the person's belief systems? Like, if that's true,
Well,
then what else is true?
we have a certain idea of what worldly reality is. We have a certain concept of what worldly reality is, but the creation or the creator uh, creates a world for us that is always it follows suit. It's an expected what we would expect, and if something is very unusual, and you have not experienced it, but someone else has, it's very hard to accept that.
Hmm.
Well,
Uh,
how
but
have you experienced it then?
well, I've already mentioned three different experiences that I've had in my life. One was with the Keys from Palm Springs, California, and Palm Beach, Florida.
Yeah.
Another experience was meeting a fellow who I just recorded. He's a musician, and he was down in Philadelphia. And third experience that I think I mentioned was right after my grandmother passed away, and I was leaving the home where we all sat. There was a tractor trailer in front of me, and it was written in the dirt on the back of the tractor trailer. It said "Goodbye, Julia." That was my grandmother's name. So
I
that's
think
three experiences, but I've had
I
many others.
I'm baiting you into telling the electrocution story if you're cool with talk. I think it's
Well, the
very
electrocution was not really one of these incidents. It was just plain stupid on my part that I actually almost got killed, or
Hmm.
maybe I'm in purgatory. I don't know, but
Yeah, don't you feel like it changed you, right? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know that. I don't know that it
yeah.
changed me, but I think I've changed. Age. I think most people do change with as you get older in life. You do change in some ways. Depends on at what point in your life you mature. That's part of it. Some people never mature. Some do at an early age. All different issues. But I've had numerous coincidences in my life that are unusual and unexplained in terms of normal worldly reality, and I
mhm,
call it the illusion of reality. That basically that there's one mind, and that the mind is creating my awareness of everything. All I call consciousness. It's all being created by the mind, and we can't really describe any of the senses. I have a sixth sense. I can feel everything. I can feel people. I can feel animals or even bugs without them without them without seeing them or hearing them. I actually feel them. I can feel them from quite a distance. And I don't know whether that's a normal thing for people or it's not a normal thing, but I have that sixth sense. I know I do. So
Yeah.
I consider it all an illusion. How about you guys? Do you have a sixth sense? I can give you an example. I can um, be driving down the street and someone is walking in the same direction that I'm driving in front of me. They're they would not see my car because I'm behind them, and if I happen to look at them, just as an example, a girl with a pretty girl walking down the street, they turn around and look at me. Now, how do they know I'm looking at them? They're walking in the same direction in front of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, How do you explain that? That
They can feel. They're like, why is this dirty old grandpa looking at me?
Yeah.
well,
I,
Damn.
I, I
or Gary
think
Young, like Brandon. Yes,
I
Sorry.
think
Yeah.
sorry.
yeah.
No, I think I call it sixth sense. I don't know if I have sixth sense. More of I just make a lot of assumptions from things. So like that situation with that woman and you, if I'm a woman, I'm like, well, 9 times out of 10, a man behind my back, I need to look behind me anyway because you know how dudes be. Um, and I think the same thing with like my mom in the kitchen and go, dang, it's been quiet for about 20 minutes. Finest can't be quiet for 20 minutes. He must be up to something. So I don't think it's so much that she has a sixth sense, is that she knows her child so well. And maybe with age, you start learning patterns so well yourself and other people's patterns so well that it's a sixth sense. But maybe I think it's more of like just reading a room really, really well and very quickly.
Mhm.
But if you're on a street in downtown and
Hmm.
you don't know the person, you don't know who they are, and in almost every case, if you happen to glance at somebody you're driving your vehicle or you're behind them, they're walking in away. They're walking in the
Yeah.
same direction that you're driving. They can't see you. They can't hear you. But if you in a sense concentrate or stare on them, they turn around and look at you. Call it the woman's mind or whatever you want to call it. Um, you know, so or the illusion of reality.
Yeah. Well, okay, I got a question then. If the same situation had happened and it was maybe not a woman, but something else, do you think that you would still be able to assume what was about to happen? Like, could you assume that somebody wouldn't look back? Like, if it was like a dog or a cat, I'm like, that cat's probably gonna look back. Or do you think it's just like a feeling?
I'd have to think about that. I don't know because I haven't had that. I haven't experienced that.
I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm good at like if I'm on the phone with someone, I know if they're in an empty room or if they have a room with stuff in it. I, but that's just because like I can hear it. You know, I don't think it's a feeling so much as just like it sounds like there's stuff in your room right now, or it sounds like you're really broke and you have nothing in your room.
Well, in about 25 years, we'll talk about it again and see if you have experienced this sort of thing.
Yo, I hope so. I hope
Yeah.
I really that would be great.
Okay.
No. Brandon, you seem very science based, right?
Yeah, I was like, I always like try to like explain things because like I'm not one to jump to believe, okay, like that's like some sort of paranoia. It's something that me and my mother actually are drastic differences on because I always get into like the ghosts and things with her. She loves like those paranormal like TV shows, and I always, it's almost comical now. It's just like, that's fake, right, and everything. Because I guess I can agree with like some like the some of you guys were saying, like if it hasn't happened to you, it's hard to accept it, and I can
Hmm.
certainly see that because I don't think I have had any like really paranormal experiences. So now every time describes them to me, I'm just like, it's hard for me to follow you down that road.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, you are correct. I am very like intellect based. I always try to find like logical explanations. Like there's got to be some sort of logical explanation and see like rather than just jump to supernatural. It's just not me. Maybe that's
Yeah.
my own. Maybe like that's some gonna come back to bite me one day, but you know.
No, I agree with you, and I feel like I've become more like that. Like I feel like some people get more spiritual as they get older, but for me, it's like, man, like a lot of my sort of spiritual belief systems, I guess, like maybe I've lost faith, like I really feel like science has now explained a lot of
Uh-huh.
what I was thinking at that time, so,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
don't want it to be that way. I think the world's better the more spiritual it is, but I don't know.
See,
You can,
I'm like that as well. Like sometimes, like I sometimes like wish it was true. Like, cause like in my own like work, I write a lot about like a lot of the like fantasy stuff, and like so it would be cool if it was real. I just don't believe it's actually do. And people always question me like, so how can you write about this stuff and like and not actually believe it? I was like, and my answer to that is that it's called fantasy for a reason.
Mm,
Hmm.
yeah. I,
yeah.
I, I see. I'm like I'm both. Like I think maybe because I'm getting older, I'm more
Hmm.
spiritual. But it goes like we were saying earlier. Like eyes wide shut, you don't see nothing. If you're just looking at it from a science base and nothing else, then you're of course you're not going to see anything. I think.
Hmm.
But if you're at least, which I know it takes time, because again, like I say this as someone that's pretty science minded, but I
Hmm.
try to at least be
Yeah.
like at least try to give someone the benefit of the doubt and go, let me at least try to like look at this in an open minded way because why not, first of all? And then second of all, it's just like, it'd be cool to see ghosts. I want to see them.
See,
Um,
I don't know if it would be cool because, like, I know, like, I've always tried to do that. I was raised in the Catholic Church. Like, my parents were super religious, and so I was like forced into that
uh,
life. And now just be like, some of that stuff doesn't make sense.
mhm,
And so I guess, like, I certainly don't like judge him or like if that's you, I'm just like I can't follow you down that road, but if that works for you, go for it.
yeah,
And so, like, I don't know if it'd be cool to see a ghost. Like, I don't like if I actually saw a ghost. I can't honestly say like I don't know what I would do. I'd just be like, okay, you're here. Like, why? Like, I would just be super confused. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe I might come away from it saying, okay, that was pretty cool. But I was just like,
I feel like for me it would help my fear of death just a little bit. I'd be like, cool. I'll,
there's a place that you go.
yeah,
Um,
I'll be able to
yeah.
come back.
I'm so curious that I am all like, so everything's so cool to me.
Yeah.
And I try my best not to be fearful at first because I don't know. I don't want, if I was a ghost and someone saw me for the first time, I'd be really sad that they were like scared of me or asking me a bunch of questions. Maybe I'm a sensitive ghost. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see. Maybe I won't have feelings at all.
He
I
Casper
mean,
over here.
Yeah.
I could follow you down that road, like seeing like I like if I were a ghost, I wouldn't want people to be scared of me because like I'm very like comical and witty in life now. I wouldn't want that to change. Like if I was a ghost,
Yeah, right?
I'm like when I was alive, I was a stand-up comedian. Why are you afraid of me just because I'm dead?
Yeah, exactly. No, I feel it. That's hilarious. I'll make you drop dead with these jokes.
Hey,
Yeah.
do we have a Zoomy on the line?
We do. Hi, Azumi. How are you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, great. How are you?
I'm good. How
Good.
Doing
about you?
okay.
Just
Great, great.
afraid of ghosts over here. Like,
Yeah, I was listening to you guys talking.
yeah,
Yeah, so what you think?
where do you stand on all that?
Ghost? Sometimes it really depends on the situation, right? If the ghost is someone I know, like my grandpa's coming back to me as a ghost, I won't be afraid, I think.
How do you feel about that, Grandpa?
I heard her say about her grandpa, but I didn't hear the complete. My volume was not good enough, and I have a little bit of a hearing issue. So, can she repeat that, and then I'll respond to it.
Sure, sure. So if I see a ghost, if the ghost is like my late grandpa or like my grandma, whoever I knew, I won't be afraid. Maybe.
Okay, so you're talking about fear of seeing a ghost, and if it was your
Yeah.
grandpa, yeah,
But I've never seen a ghost, so I don't know exactly how I react to them. But
Mm.
yeah, I don't know how to respond to that because I've never seen a ghost either. Yeah, I don't have any particular thought about it.
Sometimes
hmm,
I see my grandpa in person. I'm like, oh my god.
You
go
look like a ghost. Huh?
ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Brandon, you're good to go. By the way, thank you so much for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
You are very welcome. Thank you guys so much for having me
Yeah,
on.
thank
Thank
you.
you. See ya.
Yeah, Azumi, have you? I know that you're not. Are you on the run right now?
Living in New York.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm in New York, so is it loud?
It's
No,
all
no.
right.
Hear
It
It's
some.
just
going.
sounds like
It's
someone's coming
leaving.
after you.
I think.
Sounds like a fire truck.
Yeah, I'm outside, so sorry. It might
Oh
be a
no, it's
little
all
loud.
good.
It's all good.
Um, do you have any? It doesn't have to be supernatural, but crazy experiences that you can't really explain in your life, even if it's not a ghost.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking like, maybe I didn't have anything, but I was thinking, and then yes, I have some crazy experience because, of course, I live in New York City for 10 years. Of course, I have some crazy experiences, and I just forgot about them because maybe they're
Mm.
just too crazy that I couldn't really handle that. Maybe just I was trying to push that experience out of my head or something. But so there was experience that happened in New York City in the middle of the day during the daytime. I think that was around 3 or 4 p.m. And I don't remember the exact location, but that was around 34th Street or something like that. So it's not a really it's not quiet street. It's not super crowded, but there are some people walking around, and it was daytime. And then on one street, I saw a lady, very very skinny and kind of short lady. Her face is like, this is really hard to describe. Her face is like a fish or shark. So it's like the face is so narrow,
Oh,
so small, so narrow, and her mouth is like so wide, and she was smiling like full smile, and that her mouth is like all over her face because her mouth is too big for her face
oh wow.
area or something. So and I really couldn't figure out what I saw. And then I told my friend what I saw, and then I couldn't really explain well to her. And then, so that woman was talking to somebody, and then she was smiling all over her face. And so I explained to my friend like that, and then my friend's reaction was very funny. Oh, I'm so glad she was happy.
And now all I can think about is her being
Yeah,
a fish
I
attorney.
feel. I feel like for me, if someone else's in the world strangest experience was seeing my, it'd be real
Seems
silly. Nope. Can
you
you guys
lagged
hear
out.
me?
No, you lagged out a little bit.
Yeah, my signal, it froze up a little bit.
Yeah, me too.
Can you say that again, Brandon?
Yeah, say it again, Brandon.
Oh, all right. Well, even better the second time.
Mhm.
I was saying that if somebody else's craziest experience of their life was looking at my face, I would feel real shitty for like probably a week.
Wow,
Honestly.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Did
Do we have another person on the clean feeds here?
Yeah, we have Valerie on here today as well.
Got you. Got you.
Have we talked to Zumi
We're
before?
running.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember. You talked to your mom more recently. Yeah, is that you?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
How's that going?
Uh, when was that? That was
It's about
last
like 3
month.
weeks ago.
Two.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago.
2 3 weeks ago. I think the frequency she called me is like less and less because she knows the situation is getting better, so she doesn't need to call me that often.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
good.
that a like a lax off your shoulders?
No, it's okay. She can call me or she doesn't have to call me. I don't
Yeah.
feel like either way. So, I just, you know, um, I don't feel any worries or any burden. So, yeah.
All right. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm trying to wean my parents off of all this spoiledness I've been getting, and they've been acting up. They've been getting upset with me, not calling them as much, and
Uh,
but
uh,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah. But the
That's
funny
funny.
thing is that so during this week, my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, he likes Pokemon. Um, and you know the Pokemon Go, the
Oh,
app,
Pokemon Go. Yeah,
the,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
the game.
Hmm.
So my brother-in-law lives in Japan, and then he texts me. He doesn't text me often, but he texted me like last week and saying like, "There's a one special Pokemon appearing in only in New York City and only this week. So can't you go get it?"
That is so funny. Did you do it?
Yes, I just did it. That's why I'm outside. I was
What?
looking for a
Did-
Pokemon.
Oh,
Can you
that's
read?
great.
I'm a Pokemon fan, actually. You should see my laptop. It's like covered with Pokemon stickers.
Oh, really?
But yeah. What Pokemon was it?
Which is called Buffalon or something like that. Buffalon.
Is
It's
it
like
big?
a lion kind of looking.
Okay, yeah, it's a legendary type thing. Okay, well
Nice.
that's pretty cool.
Ooh,
Well, look
yeah,
at you being a good sister-in-law. Wow.
yeah. It was like, this week I was walking around just because of Pokemon, and that I'm not a big fan. I don't do that. I just download the app just for him.
Yeah.
That's
I don't play
nice.
Pokemon Go, but I do like Pokemon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't want to go outside and go search for Pokemon, but
Oh,
what's up? What are you saying?
yeah. Why? It's just that. Well, because I'm not a huge fan of Pokemon, but it just feels so good to walking
Yeah.
around
I
during this time.
Yeah.
I think it's because I'm so competitive. If I can't beat someone at something,
Oh.
like I'd rather play I play the trading card game and like the DS version. But even then, if I'm not playing against somebody, I lose interest pretty quickly.
Oh,
Uh,
I see. I see.
so
Also,
if I
like
was,
Pokemon Go now, it's like not the best time to walk around and try and catch stuff, you know?
Yeah. I don't want to
So
catch
Yeah,
anything outside anymore.
it's true. Yeah.
yeah. So we've got Valerie on the line. Thank you so much. Sorry for the delay, Azumi, but I really
Oh, no
appreciate you
problem.
coming on.
Yeah,
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 thank
nice
yeah.
you for
talking to you.
Great,
coming.
great.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah. Nice talking to you.
Have a good day.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
too.
Valerie, hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Um, was trying to figure out what you guys were talking about. I'm such a technical idiot.
Oh, we're just talking about the Pokemon Go game.
Oh, I remember that from a few
Uh,
years ago when they were given that hunt,
Yeah.
the worldwide hunt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still going strong apparently.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So it must be addictive, huh?
Grandpa.
Yeah, I think they're still changing things up every once in a while. Oh,
Yeah.
wait. Sorry about that. I don't know
What
why you were muted, Bart. Sorry about that.
No, I was out of the room for a moment.
Okay.
I don't know that I was muted, but this we're talking with Valerie, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I think the main topic of discussion was unusual coincidences or supernatural things that might have happened to you in your life. If you could
Mm.
share any experience, if you've had any of those types of experiences.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I have them little things every day that happen, but you just kind of, they're so easy to just brush off as non-supernatural. Like, especially if I lose something and I look all over and I can't find it, and it's like
Mhm.
some ghost picked it up in my house, and then the next day kind of drops it right in
Right.
front of me. So
Mhm.
those kinds of things, but yeah, I definitely feel that there is a supernatural veil that we have not totally penetrated. I've been going to this, I don't know if you've ever heard of this organization called IONS, which is International Association of Near-Death Experiences.
Ooh, no.
And
Tell us more.
yeah, now I'm here in Chicago, and of course not through COVID, but usually they have great speakers at least once a month who have experienced near-death experiences, and they're all very, very credible. A lot of physicians who you don't discredit their testimony at all. But anyway, so I'm definitely a firm believer in that, although science has seemed to, taken a front row seat and
Yeah.
and
Well,
diminish those testimonies.
and you were a nurse for a long time too. So, and I worked in
Yes,
the medical
yes,
field.
I was a nurse for
So,
42 years.
yeah, so I was saying that I had a bunch of like all my like I would say big moments or something that's remarkable were in the hospital with people and and people I met or stuff like situations that happened. Anything similar for you?
Well, I worked in hospice towards the end of my career, and it really was not unusual for patients who were actively dying to be comatose and then all of a sudden wake up. They've seen their loved ones who have come to get them, and they tell you, I've seen so and so, and all of a sudden they're lucid. You turn your back, and the next minute they've passed.
Wow.
So we used to share those stories all the time.
Yeah, that is so
With
cool.
each other. The nurses did. Well, everybody, social workers, whenever we'd have rounds.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to attend a transition. I like to call it a transition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever have a near-death experience yourself, or it's just from having been a nurse for so long that you?
No, I have not, but my brother-in-law did. My brother-in-law, who is now passed, and he was a general surgeon. He was a physician, and he was raised Jewish. And he and my sister were married, and they just had a baby. And they lived in not in rural Kentucky, but it was just right outside of Louisville, between Louisville and Frankfort, Kentucky. And he was crossing the railroad tracks, and long story short, he was hit by a train. His van was hit by a train, and he tells the story of this angel came to him in a golden chariot. And he just said, I can't go, it's not my time right now. My wife just had a baby. And it so moved him that he ended up converting to Catholicism after that.
Wow.
So he did have an out-of-body experience. Now have you ever had really had
lucid dreams?
Lucid dreams, actually visits. It was a visit of my old roommate who had passed away, and I never got a chance to say goodbye. And I woke up from a dream, and it was like she was right there.
That's different. That's like something different than lucid. That's like something with dreaming. My mom says she happened to her. It's that something like that. I can't remember what it's called. I have to look it up. But yeah.
Yeah, there's different types of dreams, but there are dreams when you dream about your parents or whomever who have, if they've passed away, or loved ones who have passed away. But this was a visit. It was like she was right. When I woke up, I expected her to be there next to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And those things are very difficult to articulate because we don't have the language for it.
Yeah. I mean, what you're talking about kind of reminds me of what Grandpa was saying earlier about, walking and you sense somebody or someone's there, but you don't know why someone's there. I bet there's a correlation between all of that.
Well, a lot of people are what they call it clairsentient, where they feel things. I hear things. I don't know why I'll always get this ringing in my ears that I know that someone's trying to reach me. It seems like, but I
can feel the brain waves from just about everything that's living, from a human being down to a bug. I pick up the brain waves. I think that most humans have a filtering system that filters out this, but some reason I lost that ability to filter out the electromagnetic waves that
Mm-hmm.
travel down the spine.
Mm-hmm.
So I pick up just about everything.
Interesting. How long? When did you notice that?
I noticed it probably about 40 years ago. I'm 80 years old, and I noticed it
Mm-hmm.
probably right before I was 40 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually a very difficult thing to live with because there's a lot of stress in society, and I pick up quite a bit of it. And I know, I can feel a mouse in another room. I literally feel it, or whatever it happens to be, another human being. And that particular sense of mine is as strong as any other sense, as strong as sight or hearing or touch or the
So
taste or
you're
smell.
clairsentient too, that you feel those things. Yeah.
What was that, Miss? I'm sorry.
The terminology I always apply to that is called clairsentience. When you're
Okay.
when you're sensitive to that, you pick up those vibrational feelings from different things.
Mhm.
And for me, it's a physical thing. It's not like a supernatural. I know that we have brain waves, and in fact, they measure them. With they're measured, and it's just that I am very sensitive, and I can feel the brain waves from 100 yards away.
How do you know it's not supernatural?
Yeah.
Well, I don't
If
know
you
that.
can't measure it, if you
I
can't
don't. I
see,
don't know that.
feel, taste, smell, or hear it, and
Right.
in
I don't know.
scientific method, you
Yeah.
can't. It's
I don't know. I don't know. I'm only, I have to assume that it's a physical thing, that it's a true physical thing in my particular circumstance, that I have that particular thing. Now maybe other, and generally what happens when you, let's let's say you pick up, they call it vibes. You pick up a vibe that's, say, an uncomfortable vibe, a stressful vibe. Your brain might create a reality for that feeling that
Mm.
really, but the feeling isn't really coming from that. The thing that you do is you rationalize things, and you're not really aware that you have that these brainwaves are coming from an external source.
Mhm.
So,
well, you don't know what source at all. So
well, I
that's
generally
why I
do.
say it's because it isn't measurable at least at this point in time.
I do
Does
know.
not mean it's not existent.
I do know because I can feel if a human being passes by me, let's say, I can feel their brain waves move past me. I literally feel it. It's just like, yeah, it's a very, I don't have to see them or hear them at all. In fact, generally I don't.
Right, but what I'm saying is, have, have has anyone ever tried to measure those waves
No, I've never had
on a
that done.
scientific basis? That's what I'm saying.
I've never had that done.
Yeah.
That's the answer to your question.
Ooh, that'd be a cool MRI machine. We should put you in an MRI, have people walk past you, and then see how your brain acts.
Exactly. They
Ooh,
do
that'd
that,
be,
I guess, with autistic kids too.
yeah. Yeah, that sounds cool. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a whole, it's a sixth sense, supposedly, and I just don't think science has gotten there yet.
Yeah.
Or else, if they have, it's,
It really surprises me. I think that people that have like sleep,
Depri-
what is it, sleep
deprivation.
deprivation, maybe are picking up brain waves in some cases. Some cases it's digestive issues, it's other issues, but I think that may be an issue for sleep deprivation that
Yeah.
doctors don't really, they're not familiar with it in
well,
many
the other
cases.
thing they tend to ignore is, because it doesn't lend itself to scientific method, that um,
And that's
they,
what
they
that
don't they don't consider what like the emotional stress, how you can take that out in body tissue.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the scientific world does not understand. That we know that the brain sends down electrical impulses or chemical impulses through the spinal column, which is how we get our movement and everything, and they're electromagnetic waves, and so they are giving off a brainwave. Why would they not understand that? That's what I don't understand. Why
I
they?
think they do understand it. I think it actually at this point in time, because the whole industry's been privatized over the past 30 years, it's like, is it gonna benefit everybody? You know,
to know.
is it
Yeah,
gonna be productive and economical for them to uh, try and do those studies?
yeah.
I see.
I, I don't. I mean, I do probably believe that they know more than they let off to believe. But I just when I think about like ulcers that can come into your stomach, which I would love to see it, someone's ulcer like be created without like just mentally. That'd be cool to see, like a time lapse. But like I think we really don't understand like the placebo and stuff like that. Like giving someone a placebo pill actually fixes them, which there's so much studies for it, but I don't really think we really can explain like what that is that's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got one
basically
last
that's
question.
how emotions, tend to create
For
illnesses.
Valerie and Grandpa specifically, and then I think we do have to wrap it up because we're over time. But do you think of this ability or lack of filter as a curse or a blessing? And why you, like, why do you think you have this specific experience? Like, were you chosen
Well,
maybe, or
I think it could be both. It could be both. I think that I've been told different things that it could be a lack of sensitivity from a parent, where your sensitivity gets stronger. It could be that I was hit by very high voltage at one time, and I'm really in purgatory, or somewhere else than where I think I'm at. There could be different explanations for it. It could be from some use of drugs when I was young, that maybe damaged the filters that human beings normally have. There could be a lot of different reasons for it. It's just a high sensitivity. Uh,
Yeah, it sounds like your brain got rewired by a couple of things.
it could be,
Hmm.
and I'm not certain about why or whatever, or even if other people have it. But I'm assuming that they do. That there are some people that have similar situations.
Yeah, I think other people have it. I've seen the brain rewired from drug use, definitely, where it kind of creates. I've seen individuals become bipolar after they've stopped drugs, especially if they use them at an early age, which makes them pretty hypersensitive.
Or nuts.
But don't you remember that movie Phenomena with John Travolta, who when he got struck by lightning, he
Hmm.
he developed ESP. It was
Hmm.
excellent. Yeah,
where do you think your sensitivity comes from, Valerie?
my sensitivity. I think I'm more mental than sensitive. I've actually tried to develop my sensitivity
Mm.
over the years, because I
Valerie, maybe you can explain this for me. I had a close relationship with my mother before she passed away. She had Alzheimer or dementia, and was never really diagnosed, so I'm not really sure what it was, but she would repeatedly ask the same questions over and over again. And in some ways, she was pretty lucid. But my question is, the night before she passed away, she did something that she had not done before. She sat on the edge of her bed and she grabbed hold of my hand and just squeezed it real hard. And then she passed away that evening. And I wonder why. It's almost as though she knew that she wasn't going to be around for long.
Oh, absolutely. I think that you sort of choose when you leave this planet, when you make the transition. It's basically being birthed again into a different plane. And you get that surge of energy, just like pregnant women when they're getting ready to deliver. They've been tired for months, and all of a sudden they get this surge of energy and they clean their house. Um, I think that
I think
sometimes
that's a
it's similar to
really
that.
beautiful point to end on. Thank you so much for coming, Valerie.
Hmm.
we've hit the end of our podcast for the week, but we will definitely have you back on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're an interesting lady. Nice talking to
Oh,
you,
well,
Valerie.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you for coming. Thanks for staying.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Phines had to dip out, but thanks so much
And
to
I'm going to
Phines for
cut out
being
too,
on.
Brandon.
Grandpa, I sitting here, it's just so nice, honest. I feel very grateful to just be able to look at your face. So
Well, thank you.
I mean that.
I enjoy
I
watching
love
you
you.
too. I love you too,
Yeah, yeah,
Brandon.
yeah. Love you too,
And
Grandpa. And
nice,
yeah. And thank you so much again, Sierra,
Sarah.
amazing producer, making this all
Yeah, she's
happen.
doing a wonderful
So
job. Terrific
Thank
job.
for real,
Thank
for
Really.
real, for real, for real. And
Help
I
out,
don't know if
guys.
we're gonna meet. I don't know if we're gonna meet before or after, but happy birthday, Sierra. It's about
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you.
I'm
Well, good night,
ready.
guys. Good
happy
night.
birthday to you.
Have a
It's
good
your
Good
night.
night.
it's your
Yeah,
birthday to you. Happy
that's Grandpa signing
birthday.
off. To you.
Podcasting with Grandpa Bart and Rosie, always on his shoulder. This is Grandpa and Chill.
Grandpa and Chill is brought to you by your hosts, Brandon Fox, Bart Frank, and Finest Jackson. Our producer is Sierra Doss. You can find episodes old and new on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch the show, and follow us on Twitter for behind-the-scenes moments you can't get anywhere else.